There it is.
There we go.
Hello? Oh,
Whoop-de-doo.
the outro video I think is starting to play. Hi guys, welcome to
Hold on.
Kingsman Podcast.
Oh, here we go.
Hi. How's
It's
it going?
already an
Yeah,
interesting show. Hi guys.
we're really good at podcasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
How you doing? How's your
Well-
life? Ours is chaotic. We don't know what's going on here. It's been a couple weeks, guys. We're having fun. I hope you're having fun too.
Right.
Just a quick life update from the Zachary and from the Nathary.
We're the hosts, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're hosts. We do that
Every once in a while.
sometimes when we feel like it. Yeah. Technically, we're supposed to upload every Sunday, I think, but we never do that.
We never do that.
We
but
don't.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about prayer.
Cool.
With some quick updates. I was on vacation all last week, and Zach has been kind of manning the Nerd Herd stuff. I have Nerd Herds incoming and inbound, and trust me, they good. So,
Are you sure about that?
oh, it is. It's gonna be awesome. It's very, very nerdy. I hope you like computers. Yeah, and also like music production and that kind of thing, because that's also what I do on the side. You know, outside of my other two jobs. So.
Right.
Yep. So that's my spiel.
Also, keep an eye out for more episodes of NFL 101 and minor nerd herds, which are infinitely more awesome and cool than talking about computers.
This is a competition. I will win.
We do not care at all. Whatever you guys like,
really
you can
don't.
watch. You can watch.
He's probably smarter than I am, so
Sometimes. Maybe.
depending on the day.
Sometimes one of us is smarter than the other.
That's
Sometimes
true.
another of us
Agreed.
is smarter than the other.
Yep. Yep.
But so keep an eye out for NFL 101. Also, Nerd Herd videos, and I'm thinking about starting a video series on getting you guys caught up a little bit more on NFL history.
There you go.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for that if it ever comes.
All right. So, we are talking about prayer in today's episode. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think we studied at all for this, did we?
I might have studied a little bit.
I mean, I know like the Matthew 5 and like, was it Matthew 19 is the...
Matthew chapter 6 is where the famous Lord's Prayer is. And then of course you have towards the end of the book where I have it marked. And Matthew chapter 25 is Jesus praying in the garden.
Yep.
So Jesus did give us a couple of models on prayer, but so I think I was gonna say, but let's start off with ours. But I think we should.
You sure it's Matthew 25?
Matthew 25. Oh nope, it's
That's
Matthew
correct.
26.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
My bad. My bad.
It's like, I don't
Matthew
think
26,
that's
y'all.
it. I don't think that's it.
Yeah, that's not. Matthew 26.
Yeah, you got the. Oh yeah, there it is.
The prayer in the garden.
26, 36.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, you could start this thing. I mean,
Right.
you did the research. I'm the dummy here, so.
So, let's start off at Matthew chapter 6, where
Okay.
we have the most famous outline of prayer, right?
Yes.
So, I'm gonna start off in verse 8 of Matthew. Oh no, hold
Verse
on.
8.
No, I'm gonna start off in verse 5, because as we tell our kids in youth group, context is what, Nathan?
Key.
So I'm going to start off on verse 5. And, well, actually, hold on. Now that I'm reading this, I might...
I was going to say, I would just start at the beginning, but...
Yeah, but I'm going to start at verse 4. Oh. I'm gonna keep it to verse 5 because.
Okay.
So, it starts off, and when you pray, you shall not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the corners of the streets, that they may be seen by men. Assuredly, I say to you, they have their reward. But you, when you pray, go to your room, and when you have shut your door, pray to your Father, who is in the secret place, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. And when you pray, do not use vain repetitions as the heathens do. Excuse me for burping. For
He said the Lord of his prayer. Did I use meaningless repetition as the text do? Sorry, John. Peter. Excuse me.
that fish is coming back.
Got a little bit of was pre-crucifixion indigestion.
And this is long before the crucifixion. Anyway,
It's not that long before.
it's in chapter 6, dum-dum.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm thinking. Sorry, my brain is still in Matthew chapter 26.
It's okay, Nathan.
That's all right. It's been a long week.
Anyway.
And it's like Wednesday.
And then, okay, I'll restart verse 7. And when you pray, do not use vain repetitions as the heathens do, for they think that they will be heard for their many words. Therefore, verse 8. Shut up. Therefore, do not be like them, for your Father knows the things you have need of, and before you ask them, in this manner, therefore, pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And I'll go ahead and stop there because it's...
Okay. Yeah, that's where most people stop.
Yeah. But anyway. So that's basically the Cliff Notes version of what our prayers prayers should look like. Now, do our prayers have to be like the King James version, where we're like?
You actually have to pray in ancient Greek.
I thought you had to pray in Hebrew.
I mean, it depends on what, like, if you're Gentile or Hebrew, you know. And if you're a Samaritan or a mixed breed, bro, I'm sorry, that ain't nothing for you. That's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke. Laugh. Thank you. Hey, you know... It's the problem of having the podcast with the best friend.
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
So, you know, something I noticed about this whole passage, like, okay, so it starts with the Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes, right?
Right.
You know, blessed are those, blah. But as soon as you get past that, it turns into prophecy and commandment, right?
Right.
Because, okay, you get to verse 13 of chapter 5, you got the salt of the earth. Like, you're supposed to be this. You were supposed to be my representatives, right? And then he goes into saying, you know, do not think I came to abolish the law or the prophets. I did not come to abolish, but to fulfill. Which, by the way, for those of you who believe that Old Testament law is dead and gone, you're... no. Parts of it have been, well, the whole law, I should say, has been fulfilled and forgiven. But that doesn't still mean we shouldn't try to live like Christ, you know?
God dang it, lungs.
Wow,
Log in.
You're having an issue over here, man. You need.
Yeah, his name is Nathan.
Well, unless
That was a joke.
You're allergic to my existence, so.
It might be. I haven't figured it out yet.
But you keep going. He talks about anger right after he gets done talking about fulfilling the law and being the salt and light of the earth. And
God dang it.
you know what? You've got problems, man. Hold on, let me burp it out.
Burps aren't gonna work this time. This is my lungs making issues, which they do constantly.
Is that asthma?
No, I swallowed some spit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Heck you. Anyway.
So, but yeah, he goes talking like right into anger right after he gets done saying, "I actually fulfilled the law."
Right.
Which I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yep.
But the context is he was talking to the Pharisees there in verse 20. He says, "For I say that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven." Therefore, then verse 23, "Therefore, if you are presenting your offering at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your offering there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother, then come to present your offering."
Something interesting that
he's basically commanding them to not be a Pharisee.
Right. But yeah. Which he warns again in the prayer, or before the prayer. He's just like, he's saying when you pray, do not pray like the hypocrites.
Yeah.
I.e. the Pharisees who stand on street corners and in the middle of synagogues and in the middle of the temple, saying, look at, just saying they're praying.
Right.
And, and then and then he says they get the reward because he's saying, well, yeah, they're praying they're praying for the attention, and then they get the attention. Jesus is saying instead, go to your room, shut the door, then pray to God.
And he's telling them to be private about it, which they wouldn't have even known.
And people might bring up Daniel, like, oh, Daniel didn't pray in private. He opened his windows and prayed to the Lord with his windows open.
Okay, but there's a difference.
There's a difference.
The heart behind it is what God.
Right.
That's what Christ is getting at. Like the heart behind it should be. He's commanding them to not be like the Pharisees, and he's commanding them to actually love, which is like the first few verses before at the very end of chapter 5.
Right.
But
and
the command, like it's all. It's pulling at the heart. It's like, okay, where is your heart at?
Right.
What is it? It's 1 Kings.
While you're thinking,
Is it 1 Kings or 2 Samuel? I think it's 2 Samuel, where Samuel tells Saul that it's not enough to like follow the law, but it's like the heart behind it and that kind of thing.
Well, isn't that like 1 Samuel at the end of 1 Samuel?
I thought maybe it's 1 Samuel. It's 1 Samuel. That's right.
1 Samuel deals with
it's 1 Samuel.
mostly with Saul's reign, and then 2 Samuel is David's reign into.
It's 1 Samuel. You're correct.
David's
so like
reign into,
everything behind what we do should be out of an abundance of love for God.
Right.
Right. So that's what he's commanding them to do.
Honestly, if you're saying, "Oh, Daniel prayed with his windows open," well, yeah, but that wasn't out of, like you were saying, his heart wasn't. He wasn't going into the middle of like the Median king's throne room and saying, "Look at me, I'm praying to my God."
Right. He wasn't
in
going
the middle
like,
of all you pagans.
I am holier than thou, sanctuary. You know, he wasn't.
He wasn't in the middle of, all the courts. The men, the advisors.
If you break it, I'll kill. Oh, our internet went dead, and then our internet came back. Oh, our internet went dead again.
All right.
Hold up.
Oh.
Oh, it's back.
Cool. Are we good?
Oh, it says error. Why do you have error? Oh, it's fine.
It's fine.
Okay.
All right.
It came back. Sorry, our internet went kaplooey for a split second there. My bad.
But anyway,
Yep.
as I was saying before, the technical difficulties. David, not David, Daniel wasn't like standing in the middle of these advisors and saying, "Look at me, I'm taunting
Right.
you with my prayers."
Right.
That's what Jesus warns against. He also warns against another group that we see in the Old Testament, the prophets of Baal that went against Elijah.
That didn't work.
That didn't work.
Yeah, that whole thing didn't work out too well.
You can see them like they're repeating the same prayers, like Baal come down and set fire. Baal come set fire. They're marking themselves.
Zach,
I'm gonna cut this to my body now because it keeps.
you break my mic. You break everything.
Hold on. I may have a way to fix this. There we go. It's in a pocket. If it falls out of that.
Wait, you didn't have it in a pocket before?
I had it over here on the couch.
Mine's right here in my pocket.
Okay. Well, it's in a pocket now, so we're good. Anyway.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah. So they were just saying, Baal, come set fire to our altar, and Elijah's taunting them the entire time.
Elijah's just like, you keep on going.
Call louder. He might be asleep.
I got all day, bro.
He might be destroying his toilet after eating Taco Bell. Call louder.
He's just chilling. That's all right. My God will be here in a second.
And then what does Elijah do? He prays once, and God is just like...
He pulls a Captain America. He says, I can do this all day, and then beats the crap out of him.
Anyway. Yeah.
He was Captain America before Captain was Captain America.
Well, he might have been Captain...
He was like Captain,
Israel?
Yeah. Captain Judah. Captain Prophet.
Mm-hmm. My body's betraying me constantly, guys.
What is your deal, man? You need some Tums.
I have Tums. I just didn't eat one before because I didn't think I would need it. And this is not a problem about Tums, Nathan. Stop it.
You just go.
Stop.
It's right there.
Stop. Anyway, my body isn't betraying me now, and Nathan's being awkward about it.
I'm telling the medicine's right there. Actually, it's right here. You need to read it more.
Ain't that the truth, but you know.
I know we all need to read it more. I need to read it more.
Anyway, so
there we go.
That's the first. This is so Jesus is warning us about the wrong types of prayer of repeating yourself constantly and praying for attention, and then he gives us the right prayer, right?
Ooh. Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
So what do you feel about churches where they get one or two people in a rotation on the stage to do these spontaneous prayers, and they're not really spontaneous, they're more or less just saying the same thing over and over and over again until they can think of something else just to get the crowd riled up?
Let's see here. But when you pray, no, that's not the right place.
Do it.
And when you pray, do not use vain repetition as the heathens do.
Thank you.
Right there.
Thank you.
And
holy smokes, it drives me nuts.
Please, for the love of all that is good and holy, if you are in one of these prayer rotations, or if you are in someone who gets up on stage at your church at all and prays, I beg of you, do not use the phrase "Daddy God."
That took a whole turn.
It pained me saying it. It pained me.
Whoa.
Please do not use that phrase.
That took a way different turn than I thought we were going.
Am I wrong, though?
No, I agree.
It's uncomfortable for everybody.
I think I threw up a little bit internally.
I definitely did. Because I was the one saying it.
All right. You know what?
Anyway, let's
stop. I asked you for your thoughts, and then you said,
I gave you my thoughts.
Don't say Daddy God.
I gave you my thoughts.
That was...
You asked me my thoughts, and I gave
them
to you.
You gave me a passage and then completely misapplied it.
I just had a random
I
thought.
still agree with you, but...
I thought the passage was pretty clear on what you asked.
Yeah, but I asked for your thoughts.
Those are my thoughts.
We already read
Those are my thoughts.
We read that passage like
Those
five
are my
times already.
thoughts. Those are my
Yeah,
thoughts, Nathan.
I thought you were going to give some, like, word of wisdom. Be like, hey, if you're at one of these churches, like, maybe consider finding a new one. Because they're probably not, like, expositing the Bible. I thought that's the direction we were headed, Zach. And then you're like, no, don't say Daddy God.
Please
Whoa!
stop saying it.
You know what? You know what?
Stop it.
When I do my prayer before bed tonight, I'm going to pray it out loud right outside your room, and I'm going to say, Daddy God, please make my brother have more words. I don't know.
So you agree with me?
Yes.
So you asked for my thoughts. I gave you my thoughts, child. It was my thoughts. Right here in this passage. Jesus Christ spells it out. I don't need to give anything additionally. There you go. I just added on more thoughts.
Exposition. Application.
You want an application, I'll apply it real quick.
Now you lost your spot.
You think I lost my spot?
You're welcome.
Bookmark. Boom. Right back at it.
See, that's why I have a tablet. So I can never lose.
I'm going to hurt you.
No, you can't. That's illegal. It's true. I'm not wrong.
True.
I'm not wrong.
That is
it's
true.
illegal.
If I get caught.
I don't know. We're on broadcast right now.
I'm not actually going to hurt Nathan.
Are you stupid?
I'm going to hurt him with
you know what? Matthew 6:25. Don't be anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, for this I say to you, do not be worried about your life.
Okay.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Cool. All right. What were we talking about?
Oh wait, this is the birdie passage.
The what?
Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow, they nor reap, nor gather into barns, yet the heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not worth much more than they? I mean, yeah, but we still have to work for our food, so.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they have to work for their food, too. So.
If you plant a garden, you'll be okay.
All right. So, should we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as I mentioned, this is the first model of prayer that Jesus gives us. And
yeah, you're correct. It is.
It's the first model. And if we turn to Matthew 26, now that I got the passage right.
Yep.
We get another.
Yeah, for 26:39.
Why don't you go ahead and read that passage?
Yeah. So, I'll actually start in 36 just to kind of give a little bit more contextualness here.
Because it's key.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. So Jesus came with them, the disciples, to a place called Gethsemane. And he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there to pray." And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee and began to be grieved and distressed. Then he said to them, "My soul is deeply grieved to the point of death. Remain here and keep watch with me." And he went a little beyond them and fell on his face and prayed, saying, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping, and said to Peter, "So you men could not keep watch with me for 1 hour? Keep watching and praying that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." He went away again a second time and prayed, saying, "My Father, if this cannot pass away unless I drink it, your will be done." Again he came back and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them again, and went away and prayed a third time, saying the same thing once more. And he came to his disciples and said to them, Are you still sleeping and resting? Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up, let us get going. Let's be going. Behold, the one who betrays me is at hand. So he prays a simple prayer.
Okay.
But all of his best friends just take a nap.
So it's my turn to ask you a question, Nathan.
Okay, Zach.
What's common between this prayer and the Lord's Prayer, the model prayer in chapter 6?
What's similar?
What's similar? There's a specific answer.
Oh, my father.
My father?
My father.
There's a specific line I'm looking for.
But as you will.
As you will.
Yeah.
Or your will be done on earth
Right.
as it is in heaven, as it is in
Right.
the Lord's Prayer.
It's surrendering to the Father's will.
And Jesus prays this prayer 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
He prays it. He's just like, not my will, but yours. Not mine, but you.
Yep.
Not mine. I am surrendering to you.
Yeah, it says, verse 44 says saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he keeps repeating the prayer. But look at the amount of time that he spent, especially that first time. It says for 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a full 60 minutes. Well, whatever their version of 60 minutes, an hour was.
Yeah.
I don't know if their time was, if they counted time. No, they counted time the same because we follow the same calendar. So, yeah, but for 1 hour, they couldn't stay awake. Now, okay, in all fairness, I mean, you and I, we've got technology, we've got energy drinks, we've got everything to keep us distracted and awake, right?
Right.
But for them, they have their thoughts.
Their thoughts. Peter's probably there playing with his sword.
He's just like, come at me, guard, I'm ready.
But anyway, but yeah, it's God's. This is God surrendering to Himself in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, now we've talked about some of the dangers, Nathan. We've talked about praying for attention where you're out in public on the street corner, or maybe you're up on stage and you're just rambling.
Right.
And then
no rambling allowed.
You're rambling, or you're up on stage saying, "Look at me, I'm praying so good."
Mm-hmm. Oh, it drives me nuts. I hate it when I see that kind of crap happening, dude.
Right. We've even touched a little bit on that. Maybe there are some words that make prayer that are not befitting of a prayer.
There's some what?
There are some words that are not befitting to use in prayer.
Yeah. Well, duh.
Yeah, in the context of prayer.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like the word duh.
Like the word duh. What do you think?
Daddy God.
What do you think some other dangers are to praying?
To praying?
Yeah, to praying. We don't English.
English.
Zach, no English.
No, what dangers are there to praying?
Yeah, what are the dangers?
Okay, so something in Ecclesiastes that we've been studying, I think it's like chapter 5 or 6. Maybe it's a little bit later.
Right.
But, it says, do not be hasty in your prayers.
Right.
I think it's chapter 6.
Yeah.
Maybe it's chapter 7. I don't know. I can't remember now. No, yeah, I think it's 5 and 6. But it says don't be hasty in your prayers, and the context with it was, don't. If you're just praying just to pray, which great, that's a good thing to do. If you're just praying to pray, make sure if you're like bitter or angry or upset at something that you don't slander to the Lord.
Right.
Because if you're praying and you go, this guy did this to me and blah, da, 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 and I want you to do something about it, Lord, because it's all in your power, and this guy, he's just terrible. I want him out of my life, blah, da, 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 da,
Right.
which I'm sure we've all been there before, but that's slander.
Right.
Like, you're actively sinning while you're talking to the Lord.
Right.
And I heard, you're about to get me on a rant, Zach. So I've heard a bad piece of advice. It was like the end of 2019 or the beginning of 20, I can't remember. But somebody said, you can come to the Lord with everything, but you can't. Absolutely can't. But they said you can come to the Lord with anything. And that means if you need to, like, be angry and shout in your prayers and just kind of throw up all over God, he wants to hear that too. And that's the dumbest piece of advice I ever heard. You want to know why? Because how many times are we indignant and actually unrighteously angry before we go to prayer?
Right.
And you come into prayer with that kind of attitude?
That's not the right attitude.
No. You might as well be just like the Pharisees and just like everyone else, because you're trying to make yourself self-righteous before the Lord. You know where I'm going here. You're putting yourself in Job's position.
I'm so glad you went there.
We shoehorned it into everything, Zach.
More like I do, more than you.
I got that. That was all me. That one I got.
That one was you. But what I'm saying is, I do it more than you do.
I know.
I'm the one who uses Job.
But if you do that, you're sinning. You're wrong. And then guess what's going to happen? Is whatever you wish against the other person going to happen? No. In fact, you're probably going to get punished.
Right.
And I went through some of that. You know what I'm talking about. You know what happened a few years back. I went through some of that, and it was needed. But everybody goes through some of that at some point. And sometimes you just got to learn.
There's a difference between you going to pray to God and saying, Lord, I want you to do A, B, and C to X, Y, and Z. Right. Mm-hmm. And saying, Lord, this situation happened. I'm feeling angry about it.
Yeah.
Help me through it.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
There's a difference. Yep.
There's a difference.
Yep. Yep, absolutely.
Like you said, like you mentioned Job. He said, like, okay, did his friends help him? Absolutely
For like
not.
The first 5 minutes.
7 days without them opening their mouths and not saying anything.
Yep.
And then they opened their mouths and just railed on Job specifically. Mm-hmm. And as I said to the kids, Job's argument, Job's entire argument of "but I'm innocent" went downward in trajectory from him being innocent and actually being innocent to him being self-righteous. And then God comes in and says, would you declare me, Job, guilty to justify yourself?
But now here's the other thing too, though. When we come to God and we say, hey, look at X and X person, look what they did to me, I want you to do X and X to them, does he not turn around and say, hey, you're no better?
Right.
Okay. You know, you heard the saying, you point a finger, you got three pointing back at you.
Right.
Or, hey, you're saying there's a speck in somebody else's eye, but you don't see the log in your own.
Right.
You know, it's the same concept, idea.
Right.
You don't think God's going to say that back to you? Like,
you're right.
Hello.
And right. And this is another danger that I see is be careful how you pray.
You're praying to the creator of the universe.
Yeah. Be
have
careful.
some respect.
Have some respect by not slandering. Two, like, you know, too, it's like you have some respect for him as who he is. It's like you said you're no better.
Yeah.
Just because we're Christian and someone else is not does not make
Right.
us better.
Right.
Anyway, there and the danger of it's not only like respecting God and respecting other people that you should be careful of when you're praying.
I'm listening. Yeah.
You should also be careful of what you ask for. Right. And now I get a chance to rant.
Do it.
Because so I keep saying I keep referencing give me an answer with Cliff, however you say his last name, and his son Stuart. And he makes the analogy of God is not a cosmic bellboy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, that's a good example. Yeah.
I'm gonna not to upstage Cliff because he does a good job on that show. I love him. I think I've made that obvious by how many times I've referenced him on the podcast.
Right.
But I think I have a better analogy. God isn't some cosmic pet for you to order around, or for you to say, hey, look. God isn't a pet.
He's not a dog.
He's not a dog where you're feeding him. You're feeding him with prayer, and you're saying, "Oh, look, here's a treat. If you answer this prayer for me, God, I'll go to Christmas and Easter services."
Oh man!
If you answer this prayer for me, God, I'll pick one random Sunday a year. I'll pick one random Sunday a year besides Christmas and Easter and go to church then.
Oh, wow! Ooh, that stings.
If you answer me, God, if you answer me the way I want to, God, I will do some.
If you give me one thing, I'll do one thing. God isn't tit for tat. He isn't for the, he isn't do this and I'll do that for you. Like that's, I hate that.
Right.
Oh man, you.
But.
You got me.
God isn't some. So I think both
Cosmic Bellboy. That's such a good.
It's a really good analogy.
It's so good.
It's a good analogy. I said acknowledgement. I don't know what that one is, but it's not. You can just press the bell you ring and say, come get all my stuff."
Right.
And he's also not some kind of pet where you say, "Here, I'll give you this if you give me that."
Right. Right. I agree, Zachary. I agree. He's not the genie in the bottle. He's not,
Although he has
Robin Williams in Aladdin.
Yeah. Although he does have, as Robin Williams describes them, phenomenal cosmic powers and beyond.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean
he kind of created the place.
That doesn't mean you can rub the lamp and say, "Hey, you're under my command. Give me what I want."
Give me 3 wishes.
Or give me 2 wishes, and I might set you free with my 3rd.
I might just set you free. All right. So speaking of improper communication with the Lord,
right?
Matthew 16.
Matthew 16. Ooh, where are you going with
Who
this?
do people say that the Son of Man is? I think you know exactly where I'm going with this. Peter confesses Christ. And Simon Peter answers and says, "You are the Christ, the Son of God." And Jesus says to him, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah." And then he changes his name to Peter.
And it says, "On this rock I will build my church."
Yeah.
Which, it's amazing.
And then you get into...
Like 5 minutes later.
Like literally in the same breath. Verse 21, "From that time Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed and be raised up on the 3rd day." So he probably was quoting Isaiah.
Right.
And Peter takes him aside and starts to rebuke him, saying, "God forbid it, Lord. No. This isn't going to happen to you."
No.
Now, when Peter does that, here's something that people don't think about. So Peter, taking the Lord aside to rebuke him, saying that what's been prophesied isn't going to happen to you. What insinuation is behind that? Even though this may not be what Peter intended, what's the insinuation there?
That maybe Jesus isn't the real rabbi.
Uh-huh. So, by Peter not getting it,
Which
Peter kind of understands 50-50 what's going on. He understands that Jesus is Lord. He says that.
he says that. And before you go on,
Uh-huh.
I get Peter's mindset. We don't completely understand Jesus either. Even today, when we have Peter saying this,
I know.
Peter
We still
doing
say
this.
the same things.
We still do we still make the same mistake
Yeah.
of, oh, that's not going to happen, and then poof, it happens.
Surely this isn't going to happen.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but continue with your point.
But the insinuation there is that prophecy isn't going to happen. And so
And Jesus
turns around and says, "Get behind me, Satan," or Satanas, or Satan, the enemy, the opponent. Get behind me, opponent. You are a stumbling block to me, for you are not setting your mind on God's interests, but man's.
So Jesus has a bit of an Aslan moment.
Mm-hmm.
And before you get mad at me, let me explain.
Oh,
So if you remember,
I'm listening.
I'll reference the Narnia movies because I don't remember it being in the books. I haven't read the books in a long time. I need to read those again. Anyway, but in the Chronicles of Narnia movie with Tilda Swinton and Liam Neeson, because those are the only actors I remember their names. I feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so you have the White Witch talking to Aslan, and she starts citing, some of the laws that state that she has a claim on traitors. And Aslan goes, "Don't cite the deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written." Mm-hmm. Jesus is doing a similar thing here, where he's saying, "Do not cite prophecy to me, boy, to me, opponent. I was there when it was written. I was the one who wrote it."
Right. It's it's a little bit of that.
It has similar
implications.
It's got the similar implications of you're not understanding who
Right.
I am.
So while you were speaking, I was reading some commentaries from the Jameson Fawcett Brown, and they kind of tend to agree here. And actually, they had a point here, which I think is cool. Now, JFB, they use a KJV a lot, so I'm going to quote this from them. This is actually, I think. Let me switch over to KJV if I've got it here. Yeah, I do. So in the KJV. The KJV says it this way: "Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men." And that last phrase, "the things that be of God, but those that be of men," this is their note. It says, "Thou art carried away by human views of the way of setting up Messiah's kingdom, quite contrary to those of God," essentially. So it's kindly said not to take off the sharp edge of the rebuke, but to explain and justify it, as it was evident Peter did not know was in the bosom of his rash speech. And so kind of the inclination here is that Peter, again, we just talked about this. Peter makes a rash decision to go talk to God about, like, this isn't going to happen to you. How could it? No, you are a teacher. Blah da 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 da. He doesn't understand what he's fully saying.
Right.
And when we go to God in prayer, because we can communicate to God similarly, if we're going to God in prayer with rash thought, we're not totally understanding the implications of what we're praying for and praying about. Because if you slander somebody, what does the Bible make that akin to? Starts with an M, rhymes with murder. Uh-huh.
Well, I was gonna bring this up earlier, but it didn't seem the right time. But now, so I'm gonna flipping back to Matthew chapter 6 again with the Beatitudes.
Yeah.
And then he says, of course, right after he says, during this murder part, during what you mentioned before, he begins with in verse 21 of chapter 5. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
For verse 21 of chapter 5, he just got done with the Beatitudes and saying the salt and the light, and I'm the fulfillment of the law. And then in verse 21 of chapter 5, he says, you've heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not murder, and whoever murders will be in danger of the judgment.
Yep.
Verse 22.
That's Genesis chapter 9, yeah.
But verse 22. But I say to you that whoever is angry with his brother without cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whoever says to his brother,
"You shall be good for nothing."
Yeah, you shall be good for nothing. It's the same thing. He's saying murder is the same. Murder starts in the heart.
Yeah.
Which this is my MacArthur Study Bible, and that's how it ties this section. It says murder starts in the heart, or murder begins in the heart.
It does.
And then right after it says adultery in the heart. Mm-hmm. So what Jesus is doing, you have heard it said, this. But I say unto you, your actions begin in your heart.
It begins, yeah.
So
it begins in the heart.
If our heart is in the wrong attitude when we go to prayer.
Oof.
And okay, I'm gonna circle back to Job for a little bit because this has been.
Also, we're getting.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think this is gonna be where I end my.
I think my points are pretty much rested.
I had my thoughts on this. This might be a separate episode eventually, but we'll see. But I even caution people: be careful how you talk when you're talking about God, because God's everywhere. God sees and hears everything. So, again, I'm gonna reference Pastor Cliff, and. You know, the work that he does on college campuses and the work that other people do out in public. And I see all these videos of people saying, well, why doesn't God just show himself? Why doesn't God just come down here and give me proof of sight that he's real? If you're one of those people, be careful. Because if you don't think God is listening, he is.
I was going to say, I don't know that you want to see God.
Well, okay. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah. In that way, I should say.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. When is the next time God is going to physically be on earth?
The millennial kingdom.
The millennial kingdom.
Yeah.
And let me just say,
for those not in the kingdom,
if you are saying I want God to return, it is already too, and he does. He answers your, I'm going to use the term prayer loosely, prayer of coming down and giving you physical proof. It's too late. Because
well, kinda.
Well, for those people saying it now. Think about it.
Oh yeah, no, I see the direction. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So if it's too late, I'm not saying that the millennial kingdom is on the horizon or anything. I don't know when God's going to come.
I think after the millennial reign is over is when people basically won't be saved anymore, because it's like right after the end of the millennial kingdom.
Right.
Like it doesn't take much longer, and then the world's just gone.
Right. So. Let me just say, when the tribulation starts, Nathan, we're both gamers, right? You know there's many games and some video games that have a timer on them.
Yep.
What happens when the timer gets close to, or when the time gets close to running out?
Oh, like the time gets bigger, you start hearing a beeping sound. That
time gets bigger, you hear a beeping sound. Yeah. Some of the numbers might start flashing different colors. Right. The music speeds up, right? The tribulation. The tribulation. Guess what happens? Guess what happens during the tribulation? The music is speeding up. The numbers are flashing red.
It turns to E minor.
They're getting bigger. They're saying everything is screaming, you are running out of time, right?
Yep.
So be careful when you say you want God to physically show up, because the next time he does, it might be too late.
That timer will be there.
Right.
All right, guys. We got to wrap it.
Patreon in the description.
Spotify. Give us money.
If you want to.
Please. No, just give it to us.
If you want to.
No. The Lord is telling you to. This is...
Stop it. Stop it. I will hurt you. Also, we unintentionally matched shirts, but you know, who cares?
We did? Oh, yeah, look at that. You got the home free on, I got the home free on.
We went to a home free concert
we like
recently.
home free.
We might talk about that next episode. I don't know.
That might be a future thing. That might be a nerd herd.
That might be a nerd herd. I
That
don't know.
might have to be a joint nerd herd, which is just a glorified podcast.
So at that point, let's just make it a regular podcast.
Okay.
Anyway.
What? It's not doing the thing yet. Do the thing. Go full screen. 3, 2, 1. Full screen.
Not yet.
Come on. You know you want it to go full screen. It's playing the video. I can hear it. Well, actually, I can't hear it. I have the thing muted a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah!
There we go.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Like if you like the video.
Do it.
Look out for nerd herds and NFL content in the future.
Yeah.
Bye.